just want unlimited wealth and motorcycles. Is that too much to
Unlimited
ask?
wealth and motorcycles. I feel like that is a lot to ask. Unlimited wealth.
What do you
I don't
mean?
think you can do the money glitch in real life.
Yeah, just I need an NPC vendor in my house.
NPC vendor? What's that?
Yeah, when I walk in, like in the game, when I walk in my house, they're like, "Oh, hello, adventurer. What can I what can I help you with?"
Good day, great
And then
hero.
I just
Good
find like
day.
a
How you
yeah,
doing?
facts, right? Just like
Damn.
walks into the house, just like, "Oh, the legendary hero has returned. What can I sell you today?" And you're just like, just standing there like,
I'm good. Don't worry about it. You straight.
no, I'd be like, I'd find a glitch in the system and be like, just get
Maui,
unlimited items,
why you bullshitting? You know your
unlimited.
shopkeeper gonna be female. Some hot ass. That's how she
Oh,
gonna move.
it's the legendary hero.
She's not even moving her hands. What is she just
The
bouncing her tits?
room, the room.
And then you walk through the door. She says hello. You look at Sarah like, anything from you? No.
We addicted to fast cars, bad bras, late nights, last calls, alcohol, bad bitches scrolling through the phone
So
log.
we watched the first 4 episodes for you guys, so you don't have to watch it. No, I'm just kidding. Go watch it.
Go watch it.
Go watch it. I'm gonna just start this off. So we're gonna go like episode by episode. We're not gonna like break this down in any kind of weird order or anything. Just like what happened, what we appreciated from the episode, what we wish changed. I'm gonna just say I was wrong. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I can admit that. As a
About
man,
what exactly?
no, what? Shut your mouth and let me finish. First of all, I was wrong. I was wrong that I thought this was going to be terrible. From a lot of experience I've had with live actions, I thought this was going to be bad. I really did. I thought it looked good CGI way, like CGI perspective. We had the whole conversation about it. I'm not going to hash that back out. But I watched it. This was a great show. I mean, this was fantastic. I think it was fantastically done. There's a couple nitpicky things that I do wish were changed, and there's one in particular. There's a big one in particular that I wish was a little different because it affected me as a fan watching One Piece anime for the first time ever. It affected me, and I felt like they lost the perspective in the show itself. But we'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay.
But I was wrong, and break down. So the first episode is called Romance Dawn. That's when we're introduced to Zoro and Colby. So obviously we get Colby, we get Alvida on the ship. How'd you like Alvida, by the way?
The actress herself, of course, she wasn't as big as the Alvida from.
I don't think there's
manga.
anybody that
I don't
big.
think that bitch was huge. But I actually liked her. She had a lot of. She was a great actress. She acted the part really well. She made me believe she was this obnoxious, everyone loves me type of captain. Like, who's the prettiest on the seas? Like that type of shit. Like
Yeah.
I really believed her, and I felt the same way I felt reading and watching episode 1 or first chapter of One Piece.
I'm wondering. I wonder if because, and this is a thing with a lot of like this whole like stay woke, love yourself, love your body kind of culture that's going on right now. I wonder if when Buggy and her get together and they meet in Logtown to watch Luffy get executed, is she gonna be skinny?
I mean,
Or are they gonna keep the same actress?
she would have to be skinny. That's what happens in the story.
That's maybe what happens in the story, but are they just gonna get rid of that actress?
It's not really integral for the story though. Like
I
after that, it's like, yeah, she gets a devil fruit and she gets skinny, but to the One Piece story, it really doesn't matter. She honestly doesn't even have to. Like, if they took that whole part of her joining Buggy's crew out of it, I wouldn't care. I don't even think you see her again.
Can I be honest with you?
What's that?
Can I without ruining something? So I watched the whole show, start to finish, and you see her again, and they make it a point to say that she is joining Buggy together to go kill Luffy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I mean,
literal last scene of the entire show is them raising a cup together, talking about I hate him too. Let's go kill him. Pretty much.
Okay. So they decided to actually
play on that part.
Play on that part a lot more as like an actual plot line, not like some side plot line that's going on in the background. I mean, I'm okay with it. I guess since that is the case, I can see your point on they won't. go down that plot line because they're making her like an actual character, giving her more
Yeah.
screen time, so they might not drop her as an actress
Right.
because like we're dropping you honestly because you're not fat.
Yeah, or because you're not gonna be skinny by
I'm
the
so, yeah,
time
yeah,
we
you're not skinny.
film.
I'm sorry, you're
Yeah,
fat. You're not going to be able to fit into the.
that's what I'm
So I
saying.
doubt
So
they'll
I
do
mean,
that.
I don't
I
know.
didn't think they were going to actually like play on that plot line.
But it's just
heavy.
kind of like the point, and this is a point I'm gonna make a little bit later when we get down the for a few more episodes. But like, regardless, that's how the story went, and that's what made Luffy like when he ran into her in the anime. He was like, "Who are you?"
I mean,
And
he
she's
does that
like,
to everybody. He doesn't.
I mean, he
Really matter
does,
if you change it
but
or
he's
not.
like, "Who are you?" And then she's like, "You don't remember me, boy? I'm Alvida." And then he like thinks, and then he remembers he like makes that sound like boing, like when like she's big, and then he like sees her again. He's like,
Nah.
"That's you? No, that's not you." You know, I don't know. I thought I was
Yeah,
wondering if
I mean
they'd
they
do
may,
that,
they
but
may. Let's not say they won't because they have
okay,
changed things, but they won't. They haven't ruined the story. So if they feel like it's integral enough, I feel like they'll do it. And if they feel like it's not, then they'll do it in a way that is not
I
ruining
do
the
think
story.
I think they ruined the story for me on one point, but we'll get to that.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So
Episode 1 stuff.
yeah, so Colby, I think Colby's great. I think
Hell
the
yeah.
Colby actor, I think he's really good. He literally portrays what I believe Kobe is, like kind of like a scared, nervous, like kind of nervous kid, you know, doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, you know, kind of going around. Now Helmeppo kind of a zaddy.
Hell,
Look,
was the shit. I don't know what y'all.
look,
What do you
Helmeppo
mean?
bare booty butt cheeks hanging out.
Supposedly we're
with
supposed to
Zoro.
hate him? Nah.
Like with the
I actually like him
long
up
hair.
more and more that I see. I mean, with the long hair, he was like a dickhead, but as we go on,
Yeah.
like his character starts to change. You realize he's like more of a he's more of like a realist. Like he knows how
Yeah.
the world works. He knows how the Navy works. He knows how like rank and command works. So he games the game. Like when he joins Garp, he tries to game the game. Like he already comes
Yeah.
in as captains, or what was Morgan? Was he a captain? I think Morgan was a captain. Captain Morgan.
Captain was
So
yeah,
he
was
came
a
in
cap-
as a captain's son already. So he became like the senior chore
Cadet.
boy or the senior cadet. So he already knew how to game the game, and it seems like everything he does is like, how can I get over on this? How can I look like the best guy? And it kind of gives
Yeah.
him way more character than it did in the manga. In the manga, he was just this loud, obnoxious guy that everyone just ignores. But now he's like, oh, you're actually jaded. You're actually just not some annoying guy for no reason. There's a reason why you do the things that you
Yeah.
do. So I do appreciate the live action's take on him versus the manga
Yeah.
and anime.
So I mean, going into meeting Zoro, like, so you know when Luffy was taking the boat before he got to Alvida, just to backtrack just real quick. You know what that gave me vibes of? That gave me Pirates of the Caribbean vibes when Jack Sparrow, the first scene, he's coming in on that boat and it's like sinking, and then he steps off of it onto the
Oh
dock.
yeah.
That gave me Jack Sparrow when he's like, it's like sinking and he's like bailing water out and he's
Bro,
just
this
like,
this the whole intro gave me Pirates of the Caribbean vibes.
The whole thing
when the
is-
barrel came in
Oh,
and
yeah.
you saw like the two pirate ships like actually fighting, people swinging across Alvida's
I
intro.
love-
I was like, bro,
that's
this
what I
is
love about
exactly
this
what
show.
Maui was talking about.
Yeah, that's what I love. Great pirate CGI. Like I love great pirate battles that look really good. The minute I saw the fighting going on, I was like, this show's gonna be it. This is it. This
Pirates
is
of the
it.
Caribbean
Because
meets One Piece.
literally, because this show reminds me of literally just a normal pirate show with One Piece characters, and I love pirates and I like One Piece, so it's like this show works. It works. You got the actual pirate action with the One Piece characters.
Facts.
Now, moving in, we meet our boy Zoro. When they get to the town, him and Kobe get to the town. Our boy Zoro's in the bar. The little girl tries to bring him a rice ball. Helmeppo steps in. He's like, "Move, bitch," you know. And then Zoro obviously beats up the bar. I think Zoro looks absolutely fantastic. I think Zoro is.
Yeah.
I mean, we already knew from the beginning, looking at him, he was going to be great. One thing I will say about Zoro that is nitpicky. Again, I only have nitpicky things about this. Is he doesn't give off a lot of swagger to me that Zoro in the anime did, if that makes sense. I don't, maybe it's just me, but the guy seems like I know Zoro has this mentality. He's like, yeah, I don't care. Like, whatever. Like, let's get this done. But like, this guy is really like, what? He's like a Shikamaru. He's like, what a drag. Fuck this. Like, I don't care. You know, blah, blah, blah. But Zoro also to me had like this swagger about him. Like he had like this I don't fucking care about nobody. Like fuck y'all, you know. Like fuck this. I'll fuck this bitch up. But he was also the. But this guy doesn't really have that. He has more of this I don't give a shit vibe.
Yeah.
So he's a.
No. I understand what you mean there. Honestly, I think it's still far in the beginning because we were just meeting the crew in like the first arc of One Piece, and then as we start to get into like the more deeper arcs, we start to see that Zoro is more of a badass, and I think that's when we start to establish him as this badass swaggered character. But in the beginning, he was just like we know he's strong, he's a man of
But even in
very
the beginning,
few words.
I remember like even in the beginning of One Piece because I wasn't there not long ago. I was there not long ago. I mean, and like I've been watching One Piece under at least under a year. I haven't been watching it that long, and even then, even in the beginning, he had a little bit of swagger to him where he just didn't fucking. He was like, man, fuck this, fuck y'all, I don't care.
They showed some highlighted moments. Kind of skipping ahead to the carnival when old dude, the guy who throws knives, when he had Zoro up on the spin board, like that was a pretty cool moment for Zoro.
Yeah,
honestly, he's like you're not even afraid to die as he's throwing knives at like right next to his head. Zoro's like not even moving an inch. Like I think they established him as a cool, strong character. Honestly, but honestly, from when we first meet him, like that's kind of where they started to change the story up a bit. So we meet first time we meet Zoro, he's not locked up in the courtyard already. We meet him when he gets into that
in the bar. Yeah.
And how did you like that change?
I appreciate it. So one thing I think they did really well in changing the story is not they keep the main thing, but they're also understanding that this is not an anime. This is a live action, and they have the ability. They have some creative. What do you call it? What do you call it when you give your tattoo art? Yeah, creative liberties, right? They have the liberty to kind of move it around a little bit, like getting into like the last like the episode 3 and 4 talking about fucking talking about Klahadore, that whole fucking horror movie, that whole horror episode. But they have some creative liberties because they understand this is a live action, so they have to make it a little bit more dynamic. Whereas One Piece, the anime, everything was simple. It was chopped and simple. Chopped and simple. So we got to add some filler to this. We got to add some dialogue. We got to add some more talking, some more moving around, sneaking around into the palette. Like when Nami and fucking Luffy were sneaking around looking for the map. Right? Like
that was definitely Nami and Luffy in that situation.
Yeah, but they added some stuff to that because these are real people. They have to give them some character. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciated the little changes that they're doing. There is one change that I do not like, which we'll get into like the next episode. Really,
but the first change I didn't like starts there.
Really,
what's Captain Morgan again?
Captain Morgan
in the anime, in the manga, he was established as an asshole. Like a terrible Marine captain.
Yeah.
Like killed his own subordinates, but in the live action it was like he was mean, but he was a strong iron fist leader. He didn't seem like a bad guy, but it seemed like they were trying to make him up to seem like a bad
humanize
guy.
him.
Yeah, like and it was weird. It was like but he didn't do anything wrong. Like he ruled his guys with an iron fist. He was very strict. He yelled at people, but he wasn't like killing his subordinates like in the anime or in the manga. So it was like I didn't like that they changed that part up. It was like we left out a lot of his characterization and then try to play off of it. I haven't watched 5 and on, but I hear that they try to like kill him or use him as to set an example or some shit like that. And I'm like, based off of what? How is he a bad guy? Like, do they reveal some things about him? That was the first time I was like, I don't like this part. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I get you. But I understand why. Which you would think like they're making this a big boy anime because I'm gonna tell you this now. They say the F word in like the second to last episode. Like, well, Zoro does. Zoro's like fucking clown. And I'm like, oh, sir.
I mean, he would be the one who says it first.
Cussing? Yeah, right.
We did a poll of which straw has going to drop the F-bomb
Fun fact, PG-13 and above PG-13 in itself, the rating on a movie, you're allowed one F word in the entire movie. So TV 14 and above, you're allowed one F word in the entire in one season, and then you're allowed another F word in another season. By the way, just fun fact there, because TV 14 is technically classified as PG-13 as a movie. It's like the same labeling. So that was their one F word, even though Usopp said shit like 4 times in the whole show. But anyway, so I honestly believe that, you know, with the little big boy anime stuff that they're doing, or big boy TV, it'd be surprising that they wouldn't make him such a bad guy, you know, like actually killing people, because you see it in the courtyard fight, like there's blood, they're cutting people's, they're slitting throats and shit. So anyways, but
he sliced the old dude in half. You see blood and body parts flying. So
yeah, well, so episode 2, we finally get introduced to Buggy. Buggy D Clown. I think Buggy looks great.
Buggy D.
I think Buggy is fantastic. I think the actor for him is fantastic. We get to see the chop fruit in action. We get to see Zoro all chained up, Luffy being pretty much brutalized to find where the map is. You know, we see the whole badass moment where the dude's throwing swords at fucking... I think that dude's hair, for what the anime was, like, that dude looked pretty good. The dude with the sideways hair.
I'm surprised they didn't like really focus on him a lot more. They did cut out the whole lion. I've noticed how they took out the lion part, the huge lion.
Yeah.
And the beast tamer, the one who like has like the sheep fur or some shit like that.
I honestly, I appreciate, because in the anime it's like 6 fucking episodes, this whole Buggy arc where he's throwing the Buggy balls, the Buggy bombs and shit at the town, and they have to fight their way up to Buggy to even beat him, like to fight. I'm like, but just having it in the tent, just that's the whole interaction. I actually appreciate that. It made it more simple. It made it more easy.
Definitely.
It made it easier. Now, something that happened in episode 2 that I don't really appreciate. Well, it happened in episode 1 technically, because that's when Goldie Roger got, you know, his head chopped off or whatever, or got stabbed, excuse me. I don't like how they're introducing Garp to the story. And I don't want to do a little like spoiling for the last few episodes, because it made me not like it even more. But I don't like how they're introducing Garp to the story, because of and it's kind of hard to say this, because they introduce Garp, and then Garp's in every single episode, so it's kind of hard, because each time something happens with Garp that's like real, it's in a different episode. So like at the end of episode 4, when they get the Going Merry, right, and they're leaving, and Garp is throwing the balls at them, right, or not throwing the balls, but Garp is shooting at them, and then Luffy, and it's hard to not jump forward, because this is why I don't like how they introduce Garp. But I don't like how they introduce Garp, because in the anime, because Luffy looks at him and he's like, Grandpa, like, you know, when they get the Going Merry finally. In the anime, for me, as an anime watcher for the first time, when we first get introduced to Garp, we're introduced to Garp after Impel Down, right? The whole crew is like tight in their ways. They know each other, right? Like except for Frankie's new, but like still, like everybody knows Luffy. Luffy knows everybody. And then when Garp blows that house down and comes in and he hits Luffy in the fucking face, and then Luffy's like, "Yeah, damn, Grandpa, what'd you do that for?" And everybody's like, "What?" You know, because one, they were already introduced to Ace in Alabasta, right? So they were already introduced to Ace in Alabasta. Luffy said, "This is my brother, Fire Fist Ace. He works for the Whitebeard Pirates," so on and so forth. They're like, "Damn, your brother's fucking crazy. Like, damn, you and your brother, like, y'all are both badasses." Then they get introduced to Garp. They're like, damn, like, what the fuck? Like, you got a grandpa that's like this? And then he's like, you're just like your daddy, boy. And he's like, "Well, who's Luffy's dad?" He's like, "Oh, he's Monkey D. Dragon." And they're like, damn, what the fuck's wrong with your family, right? But in the live action, he's like, "Grandpa," and then they're all like, "Grandpa," like it in the anime. It meant more, because we already thought we knew everything about Luffy, right? Which I know manga readers and everything like that, like, y'all obviously way ahead, but like in the anime, for me, it's like everybody thought they knew everything about Luffy, especially his own crew. His own crew knew everything about Luffy. They thought they knew their captain inside and out. But then they get introduced to his granddad, and they're like, damn, it ruined that moment that I had in the anime when I was like, "That's your grandpa? Like, what the fuck?" You know what I'm saying? Because we already had that moment. But Kobe and Helmeppo and Garp are with them this whole time. Like, every episode, they're following them, and it's just like, that ruined it for me. That ruined it, because that was like a big moment for me. Seeing Kobe again for the first time after all this shit, seeing Garp, seeing Helmeppo again, You know, finding out about the Luffy, the Monkey D fucking bloodline. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I did not like. I know it was long-winded, but that was this is one of my biggest gripes. I like how they're showing how Colby and how Meppo go under Garp. I like that. Don't get me wrong. I don't like that Garp is introduced to the Straw Hats this soon.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah.
seeing it because we never knew in the anime. We didn't know how Colby and how Meppo joined Garp or any of that. We didn't know. We didn't see any of that. So I like seeing that, but that could have been something different. You know what I'm saying? That could have been separate. So moving on to episode 3. Now we get introduced to Syrup Village, Usopp, your boy Usopp, Goldie Usopp. We get introduced to Usopp. Here's the thing. I like the change to the whole Kaya thing. Usopp not climbing up on the window, telling her stories, the whole little kids where he pretends to be like the captain of them. And then I like how they simplified this.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, my girl Kaya. Like, because Luffy comes to Syrup Village with Nami and Zoro. They go to find a ship. They see the Going Merry, which, how do you like the Going Merry, by the way? I love it. I think
the Going Merry definitely hit me harder seeing it in live action versus just seeing pictures of it in beginning.
Definitely. And then we get Usopp saying, "Oh, I know this." I mean, he was like, "I'm not the." I forgot exactly how he said it because it was big words, but he was like, I'm the coordinator of scrub removal and barnacle depositories." You know, and then there's like, what? And he's like, he scrubs barnacles off the ship. He's like, yeah. He's like, but I know who owns it. My girl Kaya. She could hook us up. You know, blah blah blah. And then we get to the mansion. And then obviously the Black Cat pirates, which we all knew there were Black Cat from those who watched the anime and read the manga. You know, they're like, Usopp gets a fight. He's like, no, we could go around the other way because this spot ain't good. Let's go around back. And then, you know, but they get invited to dinner. And I don't remember an anime, but that never happened, right? Where they actually get invited to dinner.
That didn't happen at all. They got kicked out. I actually like how they changed pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I like that.
Now, I will say when we start getting the Klahadore experience, that they turned this fucking show into a horror show. Like that was a horror movie. Like when our boy Mary was in the dungeon and Klahadore was moving around like a fucking vampire.
Bro.
He's like Dracula.
And then
like
he came
moving
up
around
behind
like
him.
Shing,
Bro.
just fucking. I was like,
pretty
damn,
good. I liked him.
Yeah, the whole Klahadore thing was fucking great.
How you like the addition of Kobe and Helmeppo being sent?
Again, I don't like the whole Kobe, Helmeppo, and Garp thing with them tracking them down. I don't like the change. I think it's good for character development on their part in this specific show, separating it from One Piece. I think it's good, like showing their character development and Kobe kind of getting to know his own as a Marine. Helmeppo kind of like becoming friends.
Yeah.
But I don't like the whole interaction between them. I think Colby leaving Luffy and then us not seeing him again for another 300, 400 episodes and then finally getting him back again. We're like, damn, Colby on a glow up, you know, but then we're just getting him every single episode. I'm like,
you know what's crazy?
It kind of.
They actually, in the manga, even though it's not like in the chapters, the cover story covers what's happening with Kobe and Helmeppo after Luffy leaves. So everything that we're seeing is canon, and that's why I see it all as canon. I love the fact that they put it in there because we see them becoming chore boys, and then Garb taking them in. No. Like I love.
But them tracking Luffy the whole time
it makes sense though. It makes sense. Like Garp gathering up these guys because he's the vice admiral and their job is to chase Marines and all these things are going on. Yes, I'm sorry, chase pirates, and with everything that happened with at Buggy, I can't remember the town. It makes sense that there's a pirate ship. Not pirate ship. There are Marines chasing them because their pirates and things are going on.
Marines chasing them is one thing, but the whole point was that Luffy wasn't well renowned because you made a point to me a long time ago, and I'm gonna pull receipts on this. I don't have the text messages because I think we were just talking about it. You made a point to me a long time ago that until Impel Down, Luffy was not, even though he had a bounty, Luffy was not. Nobody was scared of Luffy yet. Nobody was really scared. He wasn't really a threat yet.
Yeah.
And nobody really recognized him because everything he did pretty much before Impel Down was like happenstance. And and obviously we figure out like later through data books and like in the future that the government was covering a lot of shit up that Luffy was doing because of the whole was it Nika Nika no Mi or Mika Mika no Mi or whatever fruit. Anyways, but it was all happenstance, and so Garp getting wind of him, which I know he said like Straw Hat, and then he thought he was Shanks at first. He thought it was Shanks he was chasing. When he found out it was Luffy, it's kind of like, I don't. It just. Luffy at that point wasn't important enough, and you told me this. He wasn't important enough to have like a vice admiral really chase him down, but then really it beat Garp. I know Garp was coming after him at this point because he found out it was his grandson, right? Yeah. He was coming after him, but like the reason why Luffy wasn't being chased in the anime that much is because now they saw a pirate ship, they would get shot at, but he wasn't being chased because he wasn't important yet. He was nobody yet. He was nobody. So
I mean, look at Buggy, look at Arlong. They, even though they were still big pirates in the East Blue, they were still nobody. Nobody was coming after them.
Yeah. So
I definitely understand what you mean, but also look at that characterization of Garp. He decided because he's his grandson, he's going to chase him, even though no one would chase someone that small. And then the whole it being because he's training him. That makes sense because when he's a kid, like when we see flashbacks of Garp training Luffy when he was a kid, always saying pirates are bad, is because he was training him. Even though Luffy kept on saying, "I don't care, I'm going to be a pirate," he's like, "Well, you're never going to be able to survive." And even though he hated pirates, he trained Luffy to be able to deal with stuff because he's going to be a pirate regardless. Yeah. So it makes sense in that characterization.
I get them making it make sense, but I just don't like
it. Look at the whole thing with Ace. Like he was like, "I'm sorry, this is what you chose. Like I let you do what you wanted to do, and this is the position you got. I can't do it. My hands are tied." He wanted him doing that for Luffy, even though it didn't happen that way in manga. Him doing that for Luffy, and then what's going to happen if they do eventually get that far with Ace, it would be like, oh, okay. It makes sense why he wanted Luffy to actually be ready, because he didn't want this to happen to him. So
yeah, I get it. Well, moving into episode 4, so that's when we finally get the whole Clawhador experience, where Luffy fighting Clawhador or Zoro fighting Clawhador. Them getting fucked up down in the little wine cellar. They was all get Usopp crawling around, being hidden. And we finally get them being able to get, like, obviously they save Kaya. They save Kaya from Clawhador. We know this, right? Save Kaya from Clawhador, find out she's being poisoned, and she gives them the Going Merry as their gift, right? Their going away gift. And I really appreciated them. Like, when they finally get on the ship, they show, like, the whole inner workings of the ship. Like, it looks damn near to spec of like what the ship is. I mean, it is the ship. You know what I'm saying?
So overall, episodes 1 through 4, how was it for you?
It was good. I really enjoyed it because again, I like pirate shit. Pirate shit has always been something I've loved. Pirate stuff. Like I named my second born after a fucking notorious pirate. But with that, there are a few things, the few changes. There's only really one big change I didn't like. The rest of the changes I think were good for putting it in a live action. Because again, like I said, you have to add context. You have to add fillers. With One Piece coming out back in the 1990s when the first anime dropped. It was 99, I believe. It was simple. It was cut and paste, like quick snippet, like things were happening, no context, it was just shit was happening, right? Yeah. And animation wasn't that good back then, but with a live action, you have to add things to it in order to make it have some substance. And I really appreciate it. Again, I said I was wrong. I think this show is great. I think the direction that they're going is great. Hopefully we don't have to wait till 2025 to get fucking season 2, which will obviously cover like the cliffhangers and shit at the end of, episode 8. Yeah, episode 8 by next week. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. When I saw like I said, when I saw the pirate ships like battling each other, like shooting each other, I was like, this shit's gonna be it. Like this is it. This can be it. There's nitpicky stuff again, right? Like I can pick out literally anything. Like Zoro having one earring for a whole scene of a show, and then the next scene he has 3 earrings. His sword bending on the ground when he does it. But that's TV.
Or the fact that Zoro's was like, oh no, Luffy was like, hey, I saw that you were protecting that girl. No, he was not. Dude, Helmeppo turned around, was about to leave. He did not have to say, hey, eat this shit. Like, he didn't have to do that. Like he was
Yeah,
literally
no.
forgot about the whole situation. So no, Zoro was kind of toxic in that moment. But no, I definitely agree with you, man. But honestly, I gotta ask you one question before we're done with the live action, because it's kind of been on my mind, and I noticed you didn't mention it. You talked about how you like Nami, Zoro,
Mm-hmm.
Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
How did Luffy? How did he how did he feel
I
for
was trying
you
to I was
at the
trying
end
to
of
avoid
episode
this.
4?
I was trying to avoid this.
How did he
I
land
still
for
don't
you?
like I still don't like his voice.
No.
I think and this is another thing. It's more 5 through 8 that I get this feeling, but it starts in 1 through 4 of this show. I don't feel the emotional connections that are being built between them. I don't feel it. I don't. It's not there for me. Like the connections that like when we get. I just to spoil it really quick. When we get to, Ba- fuck the restaurant that's not
Barati?
Barati, yeah. When we get to Barati and Zoro makes his whole pledge to Luffy and all that shit, it's not there. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's not
We'll
there.
talk about it, but
We'll
I've
get there.
definitely
We'll get there.
heard that they took a lot out of those scenes to make a lot of other things work that didn't establish the bond that was supposed to be established during that arc.
There's no the bonds that we're supposed to feel growing between them. I don't feel it. And Luffy to me is like, I like the character. I like how he looks.
Yeah.
But like he in the show or in the anime, he's establishing that like, nah, you're my fucking friend. Like I don't care. And I know he says it in the live action. I know he says it all the time, but I don't feel it.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel the connection
Yeah,
between them.
checking the box.
And yeah, and honestly, like I don't want.
I don't feel it when he says I'm gonna be king of the pirates.
Yeah,
Be
me neither.
honest with you. I
Yeah,
don't
I don't.
feel it.
I don't.
When he says it, it's like,
I
oh
don't.
my god, are you though? When Luffy says it in
don't.
anime, it's like it's kind of cringe, but I
Yeah.
love it because he means that shit. But when he says it's like,
Like,
I feel like you're just saying
Yeah,
it
it's like,
because
alright,
that's
cool.
what Luffy says, and
Like,
I don't like that.
I don't want to spoil this again. We'll get to it in the next, but like the Nami crying shit too. With the
Yeah,
hat on the
yeah.
head,
Let's
it's not
get it.
there.
I haven't
It's
watched
not
it
there.
yet. Let's
not
watch it.
there.
And Oda
sorry.
says supposedly he felt it when he watched it. So let me watch it first, and we'll talk.
I'm
about
sorry,
it next
it's
time.
not. The connections are not there. I
understand.
I still don't like his voice, to be honest. He has a very heavy accent, and when he says like gum gum, it sounds forced. Like it sounds like he's trying, like he can't say it right. So he's like really trying to enunciate gum gum, like he's gum gum.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's
something I noticed looking at him, he's kind of older. Like when I think Luffy, I think
It's
younger.
not kiddish vibes.
It was like
He doesn't have
one. It
kiddish
was like
vibes.
one pan shot of Jesus. It was Luffy. It was like just panning on his face, and you can see like his 5 o'clock
wrinkles?
shadow.
Oh,
Like you
5
can
o'clock
see
shadow.
his 5 o'clock shadow, and it's like I don't
You a
think
grown
Luffy has a
man.
5 o'clock shadow. And his voice is kind of like, even though he does have a light voice sometimes, it sounds like a guy who's going through
It's
puberty.
deep.
Like it'll be light
deep
sometimes, and then it'll
sometimes.
go to a deep tone. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
also,
gonna be
when he
king of the
gets-
pirates. What? Who are you?
When he gets mad, it's not. It's cringy to me. When he gets mad, like when he has like a, I'm just like,
No one
wow,
fucks with my friends.
I'll whoop your ass. What the fuck? Like, if some kid looked at me like that in the hallway, I'd put him in a locker.
I mean,
Like,
let's be real though. Like looking at Luffy pre-time skip, I kind of get that same vibes too. I'm looking at Luffy now, and he's a badass. But pre-time skip, it was just this lanky kid and was like, "No one's gonna mess with my friends." And like, okay, maybe to be fair, that's the vibes he did give in the beginning, but he's not giving me badass vibes as yet.
Yeah,
I
no.
need to see a lot more. Maybe Gear 2
not.
is gonna unlock something for me, but right now it's
I hope.
I like
There's
him.
no- it's
He's
not
Luffy,
there.
but
The
he's not Luffy.
emotion. Yeah, the
You know what I mean?
emotion's not there.
Yeah.
Like the emotional connections, learning these people it's not there. But I like the show. I think the show is pretty good. I think the show, for what it is, what it's supposed to be, it's pretty good. So
Yeah, definitely. From what I've seen, episodes 1 through 4, I'm giving those like 8. 8 is being generous. 7.5.
7.5. That's
7.5. 8
7.5.
just be generous because I love it so
Yeah.
much and I'm a huge fan. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a generous 0.5. So 8. 8 out of 10. For you, 7.5.
I don't round.
Just
No.
episode 1 through 4. Oh, I'm not rounding. I'm saying
Episode 1 through
because
4
I'm
is
such a huge
7.5.
fan, the biasness is giving it a 0.5. So it's now an 8. But you said 7.5, just episode 1 through 4?
7.5.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I'm looking forward to episode 5 through 8 then.